What if I told you that a common kitchen spice could work as well as prescription antidepressants? It sounds too good to be true, right? Well, the science on saffron is shockingly strong. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of that mind-blowing science, including controlled clinical human studies, meta-analyses. I'll explain the neuroscience, and I'm going to show you how this golden spice might really be the next big thing in mental health. Plus, I'll even give you some free, delicious, therapeutically dosed recipes to try at home. But first, let me arm you with some background on saffron, this amazing spice. Saffron is derived from the Persian saffron, meaning gold strung, which refers to the golden stamens of the saffron flower, which is basically the flower's, let's say, male reproductive organs. So, handle with care. Now, as some of you may know, saffron is known for being the world's most expensive spice at about $5,000 per pound. But before you go selling your belongings to afford it, let me reassure you, it actually costs less than a cup of coffee per day at therapeutic doses. But more on dosing math later, I promise. Anyway, saffron has historically been used in traditional Persian medicine for depression. But rigorous human studies on its mental health benefits started in the early 2000s, which brings us to our first study, a 2005 double-blinded randomized controlled trial comparing 6 weeks of saffron supplementation to fluoxetine, a commonly prescribed SSRI sold under the brand name Prozac for depression. It was conducted in 38 patients, again, over 6 weeks. And impressively, the saffron capsule, dosed at just 30 milligrams per day, performed equal to the fluoxetine, equal to the Prozac. You can see the results here with the Hamilton Rating Scale for depression dropping in lockstep between the treatments. Now, the absolute decrease in both treatments, the saffron and the fluoxetine, the SSRI, was greater than 12 points. But what does that number actually mean on this scale? Well, in clinical trials, I want to point out there's a distinction between statistically significant and clinically significant differences. A statistically significant difference means there was a detectable numeric difference, as in over time or between groups. Conversely, and actually more importantly, a clinically significant difference means the size of the change was detectable and meaningful for the patient and their quality of life. Now, while it's somewhat arbitrary, a clinically significant change in this particular depression scale is around 5 points, which means a 12-point drop with saffron is impressive and actually clinically substantial. So these findings are incredibly uplifting. And quickly, before I move on to the next study, I'll point out that one presumed advantage of saffron over prescription medications is that it could have fewer side effects. And in this first small pilot trial, while there was no statistically significant difference in side effects between groups, that may be because the trial was too small and underpowered to detect differences. But if you look at the actual numbers shown here, I think you can see a clear trend towards lower side effects in the saffron group as compared to the prescription medications. Do you see what I'm talking about? Now, moving on to our second double-blinded randomized controlled human trial, because in science, we like to reproduce our results. But in this trial, they compared 50 milligrams twice per day of saffron to a placebo control for 12 weeks, so higher dose for longer time, and with a placebo control, not an SSRI. So whereas in the last trial, it was good to see saffron perform equal to the control, an SSRI, drug for depression, here we want saffron to perform better than the control, which is a placebo. And indeed, in this trial, including 54 completing participants, the saffron improved scores on the Beck Depression Inventory and Beck Anxiety Inventory significantly more than the placebo control. Pretty cool, right? Now, rather than working through another 20 plus randomized controlled trials, I want to read you some excerpts from a meta-analysis of 23 randomized controlled trials conducted on saffron for mental health, including depression and anxiety. So here we go. It reads, meta-analysis found significant and large positive effects for saffron, reducing symptoms of depression in comparison with a placebo. It also reads, when compared to antidepressant medications, like SSRIs, there was no significant difference between saffron and these medications. And finally, the meta-analysis of studies investigated the effects of saffron as an adjunct to pharmacotherapy and reported large, significant benefits from saffron supplementation. So I know that was a little bit jargony. So let me translate those 3 bullets into simpler terms. Saffron's effects alone were large and positive for mental health. It also performed as well as commonly prescribed medications in human randomized controlled trials. And it provided additional benefits when stacked on top of these prescription medications. Basically, everything you could hope for. And the effects on anxiety were similar to those in depression. And if you do end up reading this meta-analysis, you may note they report something called publication bias. But correcting for publication bias only strengthened the results, increasing the effect of saffron on mental health. And if that last little bit went over your head, just focus on the big picture. In these controlled human trials, saffron, the spice saffron, showed significant positive effects on depression and anxiety. Pretty amazing. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how? How does saffron work? It's freaking spice, right? Well, while the exact mechanism isn't worked out, it is known that components of saffron, including crocin, which is responsible for saffron's color, and saffronel, which imparts saffron's aroma, inhibit the reuptake of dopamine and serotonin to boost levels of these critical mood-regulating neurotransmitters in the brain. This is similar to the mechanisms of action of commonly prescribed medications in psychiatry. And saffron also has powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, which you can think of as helping to soothe and calm the brain from a metabolic perspective. Saffron can also lower the stress hormone, cortisol, and increase levels of the brain healing factor, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. And of note, at a population level, depression and other mental health disorders are associated with inflammation, oxidative stress, higher levels of stress hormones, and lower BDNF. Thus, these mechanisms by which saffron impacts metabolism provide a clear biological rationale to support the clinical effects in the randomized controlled trials we just reviewed. The pieces of the puzzle fit together perfectly. Now, on dosing. The most common dose used in the randomized controlled trials in the meta-analysis was 30 milligrams per day, with the second trial we mentioned using a higher dose of 50 milligrams twice per day, which amounts to 100 milligrams. Now, even if we use that upper bound of 100 milligrams per day for a conservative price estimate and price saffron at $5,000 per pound or $11,000 per kilogram, a one-day dose of saffron would only be $1.10 per day. And if you dosed at 30 milligrams per day, that's only 33 cents per day. Kind of cool, right? Now, I'm sure you want to know whether you can get this dose in a yummy recipe. And the answer is yes. And if you're thinking, finally, a reason to eat mayo by the spoonful, you're in luck. Or that might just be me. Anyway, 1 teaspoon of saffron is about 700 milligrams. So in the video notes, I'm going to share with you free recipes that will give you presumably therapeutic doses of saffron in each serving. For example, this keto saffron panna cotta uses a 1/4 teaspoon per 6 servings, which yields about 30 milligrams per serving if you do out the math. It's really ironic that this recipe doses saffron like most randomized controlled trials. To be honest, this is a friend's recipe, and that's totally coincidence, but a positive one. And this homemade saffron mayonnaise uses 1 teaspoon of saffron and yields 19 tablespoons of delicious creamy mayo. That's about 37 milligrams per tablespoon of mayo. That's therapeutic mayo for depression. I know, kind of crazy. And this low-carb paella doses saffron at a pinch per 6 servings. So you can tailor it. If you want a 30 milligram serving per dose, then use a quarter teaspoon. And you can double or quadruple that to a half or a full teaspoon in order to get higher doses of saffron in this delicious paella. The links are in the video notes. Now, we're out of time. But if this video delighted you, please don't leave me hanging and subscribe. It really helps to amplify my reach, to help more people, and makes it so together we can get our physical and mental health into mint condition. And if you really want to support my work, you can subscribe to my Stay Curious Metabolism newsletter, where you can get some exclusive data digestions and other high-yield, in-depth content that you really can't get elsewhere. Stay curious. I hope you found this interesting. I certainly found the science of saffron really exciting. Toodles.